I say she was very driven, and yeah, she made me proud every day. Yeah,
Officers were called to an address in Old Swan around 12:40 a.m. on August the 21st, 2022, following reports of a concern for a woman at the property. Emergency services attended and found Ashley Dale in the rear garden of the property with gunshot wounds to her body. Paramedics provided CPR at the scene and Ashley was taken to hospital, but sadly died a short time later. The family of 28-year-old Ashley described her as a hard-working young woman who had her entire life ahead of her. She'd just been promoted at her job. She was an environmental health officer with Knowsley Council. However, her life was tragically cut short before she was able to take up her new role.
She was, I say, happy, normal, young woman. She was career-driven, happy in a job, in a chosen career. She just, went about a sort of life in a, I say, want of a better word, a normal way, really. She just wanted the same things as most young women of that age wanted. She was happy, she was family orientated, loved her two sisters, her younger sisters, which me and Rob have got together. She loved a house, she was very house proud, she loved her clothes, she loved fashion. Yeah, just very, I'll say, average and normal, whatever that is, really.
A total of 15 arrests were made during Merseyside Police investigation into her death. The force released footage of a car believed to have been driven in the area shortly before the incident was reported. Inquiries identified this as a grey Hyundai i30. The clip shows this car in Page Moss earlier in the evening of the murder.
In my first appeal, I asked for people to come forward who were on foot in the street in Leinster Road, and that appeal still stands. We know that there's still people in the community walking around, whether it be walking home, maybe coming home from after being on a night out, or just milling about in the street at the time when this took place, which was at around midnight. I still want those people to come forward and make contact with us.
From DNA and trawling through hundreds of hours of CCTV to seizing thousands of exhibits, of which over 300 were digital devices, it was established Ashley was not the intended target of the shooting at her home on Leinster Road. However, it was Ashley's own phone, which was found just an arm's length away from her, that were proved to contain the most significant evidence of the events that led up to her tragic murder.
It's the first time I have ever seen the evidence of the murder victim play such a crucial role in a court case. Ashley was narrating her own story and events that led up to her death. There was barely a dry eye in the courtroom as her increased fear and anxiety was played out through recovered voice notes from her phone.
28-year-old Ashley Dale was shot dead in Old Swan in 2022. Ashley was at her home on Leinster Road on a Saturday night, cuddled up to her beloved dog Darla. Around 11:30 p.m, Saturday 20th of August, a grey Hyundai i30 drove onto her road. 3 of the tyres on Ashley's car were damaged, causing the vehicle's alarm to go off. In the early hours of Sunday morning, James Witham forced his way into her home, taking the door down completely, only leaving the frame intact, and indiscriminately firing a number of shots towards Ashley before going upstairs to the spare bedroom and discharging a further 5 rounds from a Scorpion submachine gun. Ashley was subsequently found in the back garden with a fatal gunshot wound.
One of the key pieces of evidence that has come out throughout the trial is undoubtedly Ashley's phone. In my experience of criminal prosecutions, it has been unprecedented for a victim to foretell her own death, which is effectively what she has done through the voice notes. Ashley narrated her own story, starting from Glastonbury in June of 2022, right through to just a few days before her death in August of 2022. These voice notes were harrowing to listen to.
Ashley's boyfriend Lee Harrison had been the intended target of the gun attack after a dispute with Niall Barry had been reignited at Glastonbury Festival earlier in 2022. Harrison, who was described in court as a drug dealer at odds with a rival gang, was not there at the time of the attack.
I wasn't aware of what he was involved in, but I'm not naive, and I knew he didn't have a 9-to-5 job, shall we say. In terms of, I did speak to Ashley on a regular basis that I wasn't happy that she was with somebody like that. She deserved so much better, and when I say like that, didn't have the hopes and dreams and the aspirations that Ashley had. And I used to tell her on a regular basis, you could do so much better, but she loved him. She did love him. I didn't have any concerns for her safety at all. I just, wasn't happy about, her being with someone that didn't have a job, but yeah, I wasn't fully aware of what he was involved in.
This was a senseless crime, taking the life of a young woman in her own home that's torn a family apart. Following a 7-week trial at Liverpool Crown Court, 4 men were sentenced to a total of 173 years in prison for the murder of Ashley Dale. A jury found James Witham, Sean Zeiss, Niall Barry and Joseph Pearce guilty of the murder of the 28-year-old who was fatally shot in her home in Leinster Road in August of 2022.
No one would ever account for someone coming kicking your door down 12:30 and firing 15 bullets into your property. It's a 1 in a billion type of thing. Doesn't happen, but it has happened.
James Witham had previously admitted being the gunman who fired the fatal shot.
I'm angry at all of them because without every single one of them, they've all had a part to play in it. Yeah, he's destroyed our lives, he really has, and we've not seen 1 ounce of remorse from him whatsoever during this trial. He's sat there and yeah, I've not seen 1 tear, one anything from any of them, let alone James Witham. He's not only took Ashley's life, he's took my life, he's took our lives, he's took my daughter's lives. He's essentially took his own life and his family's life, because nothing's going to be the same again, is it?
The 4 men were also found guilty of conspiracy to murder Ashley's boyfriend, Lee Harrison, and conspiracy to possess a prohibited weapon, namely a Scorpion submachine gun and ammunition with intent to endanger life. Ashley's boyfriend Lee Harrison chose not to cooperate with police during the investigation into her murder.
Ashley loved him. There's no, we know that. We know they were together for 5 years. I just cannot never ever get my head around how someone who supposedly loved her back could treat her and us in that way. He's not even admitted that it was anything to do with him. He's never came to me and even, give me a reason why he felt like he couldn't speak to the police,
When passing sentencing, Judge Goose said, "I have been struck by the dignity you have shown as a family, and the way you expressed yourselves in the victim personal statements was truly remarkable."
What the verdicts have undoubtedly shown is that the people of Merseyside will not tolerate gun crime, and particularly when the victim of this despicable attack was a young 28-year-old woman with her whole life ahead of her. I'm sure the verdicts will go some way to comforting Ashley's family, but ultimately we must recognise now that as the prosecution has come to a close, this is only the start for Ashley's family.
It should be noted here that with such high-profile murders occurring within the space of 48 hours of each other, this was an intense period for all of Merseyside Police.
In August of 2022, Liverpool was rocked with the news 3 murders had taken place in the space of just 1 week.
Firstly, I want to reiterate that our thoughts and condolences are with the families of Olivia Pratt-Corbell, Ashley Dale and Sam Rimmer. Thank you for all coming today and for your continued support as we work to identify those responsible for these callous and cold-blooded murders
that have rocked our communities.
At 11:40 p.m. on the 16th of August 2022, Sam Rimmer was on Lavrock Bank Dingle with a group of friends when two electric bikes drove into the cul-de-sac and fired a number of shots towards the group. As a result, Sam was injured, and despite the best efforts of officers and ambulance staff, he was sadly pronounced dead a short while later at hospital. Although 10 arrests have been made so far, no one has been charged with his murder. The day after Ashley Dale was murdered in her home in Old Swan, 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Bell was shot dead by Thomas Cashman as he was chasing down his intended victim in Dovecot on August the 22nd, 2022.
I think it's been shown over recent years the level of violence that criminals are willing to use on Merseyside, and by the nature of using weapons like scorpions that are capable of such devastation, that shows that what they're willing to do.
Police say information from the public is vital to the breakdown of organised crime groups.
We are committed to do it, targeting this level of criminality across the whole force area and beyond. We work with multiple partner agencies, we work with the community, we work with other forces. We've been graded as outstanding in relation to how we deal with organised crime, but we're not resting on our laurels in relation to that.
In 2022, there were 49 firearm discharges in the region. Merseyside Police have been working to reduce this. January 2023 was the first calendar month when there were 0 discharges since records began. This was then repeated for the months of June and September.
This investigation is a prime example that we will listen to our communities. We will take seriously the information that people have to offer us. We will analyse it, review it and take positive action. I hope that today gives the reassurance to the public that we listen.
One firearms discharged on our streets is one too many. Sadly, too many lives have been lost here on Merseyside.